So how good is the new Cleo Sol Heaven album?
I like it, Cleo. I like it.
Keep watching to find out. Coffee and Beats is back. Let's go. Welcome back to the cafe. Come on in, have a seat. We're back for another episode of season 6, episode 2 of Coffee and Beats. I am your musical barista, Rod the Magnificent. Welcome back to the cafe. Have a seat. I got some albums to talk to you all about. Before I get into all of that, like the video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the YouTube. I'm 2 subscriptions away,
ladies and gentlemen, 2 subscribers away
from 100. And if we get to 100, I will shout you out in the next episode. So if you are responsible, or you're the 2 people that are responsible for getting me to 100, I'm gonna shout you out on the next episode and give you a
hit that. Thank you. All right.
In today's episode, I got some albums, but I also got some coffee recommendations. Now, thanks to some faithful listeners of the show, shout out to the Glovers. They're good friends of mine. They surprised me with a coffee package for the fall as we're getting into the fall season. Well, it's only fitting that I was received from them this lovely little masterpiece right here, Flavors of Fall. This is a coffee collection and it has so many different flavors, including this one right here. As you can see, this one's called Cinnamon
Sticky Buns.
Good flavors in here. Good flavors, salted caramel. It's got the typical pumpkin spice flavor in there. So it's got all the fall treats in there. So do yourself a favor. They actually sell this at Aldi. So if this is at your local Aldi, it is worth getting. These are bangers right here. All of them. I have not tasted a bad one yet. I done got through like 4 of these already. And I think about 12 of them come in a pack. So do yourself a favor and go get that. Thanks to the Glovers, faithful listeners of the channel. I appreciate the support. Now on to our reviews. And we got a few albums to get into. So buckle up your seatbelts. Here we go. And we're going to kick things off, the second episode of season 6, off with a new album from James Blake, and it is entitled Playing Robots into Heaven. This is the 6th studio album from the English singer, songwriter, and producer James Blake himself. His 6th studio album sees him returning to the electronic roots from the earlier 2010 decade, which we all fell in love with them because of that, with those just gave birth to some of those weird sci-fi sounds and vibes that we all knew and loved him for. Last few albums, he went down the sad route, going through a lot with the pandemic. A few albums before that, he tapped into his trap soul roots. This album, he's going back to the basics. This features about 11 tracks, rounding off at about 42 minutes. My thoughts on this album, I'm just gonna take you back to the days of the Transformers, and I'm talking about the Transformers in the 1980s. See, they started off with season 1 and season 2 with Optimus Prime, Megatron, right? Then they came out with the movie back in 86. Now, I'm dating myself with this movie, so if you haven't seen it, you don't have to see it, because I'm just gonna give you a couple of spoiler alerts on this one. Now, in the movie, Optimus Prime and Megatron got into a brutal fight after the Decepticons invaded that ship with all the Autobots and destroyed all the Autobots, leaving Optimus Prime solo. And so now Optimus Prime gets into this huge fight with Megatron. Optimus Prime dies. Megatron gets brutally injured, but he goes all the way into outer space and finds Unicron, and Unicron changes him from Megatron to Galvatron. Now, I'm saying all that to say this. After that happened and there was a new character that took over Optimus Prime's spot as the leader of the Autobots, Rodimus Prime, They came out after the movie. They came out with seasons 3 and 4 of Galvatron versus Rodimus. But a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of fans of Transformers did not like this transition. All right? Even though they went deep, they took you all the way out of space, it didn't sit well with a lot of people. And then it got so bad that they had to come out with an episode where they resurrect Optimus Prime just to bring the old Transformers fans back. And I say all that to say, in comparison to this album, yes, James Blake has gone through a lot of transformations in his music career. You know, the Autobots, they started off in outer space, they came down to Earth and went back to outer space. This is what James Blake did. He started off in outer space, came back down to Earth with us, went back to outer space. On this record, he went a little bit too deep into outer space, in my opinion. And I don't mind when an artist go out of space. I don't mind going and traveling to another dimension with an artist when they hit those creative juices. But don't kill Optimus Prime in the process. And I think that's what happened with this album. I think he went too deep for his own good, that it almost killed my enjoyment of this project. And I just felt like it was just going in so many different directions. Some songs you're just waiting on for something to happen, but it just doesn't happen, and it just keeps going and it keeps playing the same beat. And listen, I'm all for a change of pace when it comes to art. The elements that I do like about this album is that James Blake took risks. He hit us with a few good songs here and there, like Big Hammer and Fire the Editor, but after that, everything was kind of out of space to me. He went down the more ambient route, which I don't mind ambient music either. I don't know if I was ready for this album. And maybe if I come back to this album later on and try to digest it, maybe I'll digest it better. But I've made 3 attempts with this project and I'm just not in love with it. Overall, I give this one a just okay out of 10. It hurts me to say that about this project. Maybe you'll like it. If you listen to it, you'll like it more than I do. But overall, I just really didn't care for this project. I'm sorry, James, if you're listening. I thought you do a great job as far as production wise. You were in your bag on this one. It just didn't click with me. Up next, we got Laufey.
Icelandic form, it's Laufey.
With her second studio album, Bewitched. And this is the second album by Icelandic singer, songwriter.
Laufey.
And this is a follow-up to her first album. And this album features lead tracks such as Start, Promise, and Bewitched, and also California and Me. This album features 14 tracks, rounding off at around 48 minutes. Now, in summary, this album is a very beautiful piece of vocal work from Laufey. She has a very angelic and soothing voice. Also, in some pockets of the record, it sounds like music that you would hear from a Disney movie. Like if Belle and from Beauty and the Beast were to make an album, it would sound just like this. For example, songs like Lovesick or the title track Bewitched, these songs have a very grand presentation to them, as if you were watching a sequence to a musical. Although I don't think this is a bad project, it was labeled as a jazz record, and it was also noted that it was the highest selling jazz record so far this year, which made me intrigued to listen to this project.
But I've been hoodwinked, y'all. I've been bamboozled.
There is a little bit of jazz, a little hint of jazz, but it's mostly pop-friendly, musical style jazz, if you want to call it. Don't attack me in the comments section, okay? I like my jazz a certain way. I guess I went into this album thinking that I was going to get maybe a Samara Joy style project. Maybe my mindset wasn't in the right place with this album. But I did enjoy some elements of this record. Songs such as Misty and From the Start. It had me tapping my fingers a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. And her vocals, her voice is so beautiful, it's so angelic. I would love to see her in concert performing this record. I think this is really a record made for a concert, symphony orchestra type of presentation with this particular album. But other than that, I don't see myself coming back to this one, but I did enjoy some elements of it. I give it a 6 out of 10. I know this album has been getting huge praise from critics. It just didn't hit me. It didn't hit my musical taste buds. Up next, we got Tinashe with her 6th studio album, BB/Angel. And this is from American singer, songwriter, independent artist, Tinashe. This serves as a follow-up to her 2021 release 333, which was actually a pretty dope album. I didn't quite make my top 25 that year, but it still got some play that year. This new record, on the other hand, is a much shorter record, clocks in at around 20 minutes, over 7 tracks. Now, this is a very catchy and cohesive short project from Tinashe. It seems like ever since she's gone independent, her music has been more crisp in production, layered with good topics, good storytelling in regards romance, relationships that either go north or south. None of the music here gets lost in the shuffle. Just some outstanding vocals as a cherry on top to all the topics that she's been addressing, especially with this album in particular. Check out songs like Talk to Me Nice and the heavy bass driven hey, it's catchy, man. It just jumps out the speaker, man. Grand production over very moody and seductive vocals by Tinashe. And then you got the song Gravity, which she taps into her inner Pink Pantheress, which features a soulful bedroom pop-like sound in which she executes beautifully. It did leave me wanting a little bit more, but this is good work. She gets in, she gets out, she executes very well. That's hard to come out with just 7 tracks and all of them be fire. And in this case, most of them were fire. Tinashe continues to be consistent and remain one of the most consistent artists in pop and R&B. Take that, Chris Brown. Last but not least, we got Cleo Sol with her 3rd full-length album, Heaven. And this is from the British singer, member of the group Salt. Cleo Sol is back with another very heart-wrenching, heart-touching, heart-grabbing,
heart-choking album.
The album features about 9 tracks, clocking in at around 30 minutes. Cleo Sol continues to always come with music that touches a nerve in my tear ducts. She touches the inner crevices of my heart, soothes the amount of worries about what I might be going through in life, and keeps me at an inner peace with myself. The gentle production with each and every track on this album is mesmerizing. Is a great follow-up from her previous album, Mother, in which she talks about her new motherhood and also reflecting on her previous relationship with, or her current relationship with her own mother. Here, it's basically her reflecting on how she's going to continue to live her life after having a child and facing up to her past demons of her past and basically surviving those demons and really coming from that and being in a better place mentally. The track Airplane is a perfect example of this. It's a very vulnerable yet uplifting piece that finds Cleo inviting us in and giving us an honest assessment into her struggles with mental health and continuing on in life despite mistakes she's made in the past. All the songs on this album I love, and I will feature some of the key songs in the description box below, but I think this is one of the most important albums to come out this year. And if you are in a place where you feel down about yourself, this is a perfect album to listen to, because this album was made to uplift and to help you fight through any struggles that you're going through in life. And the album is a crown jewel, ladies and gentlemen. I give this album a 9.5 out of 10. This is hands down one of the best albums of 2023. Point blank, period. Cleo Sol strikes again, and she does it with class. She's always clutch. I love her music. Continue to keep doing what you're doing, Cleo Sol. It is work. Last but not least, I want to draw attention to a particular artist that you need to be on the lookout for more music. This dude is futuristic. The name of the artist is called Slauson Malone. This dude is got a sound that is very, very unique. It's something I've never heard before. I think you personally will enjoy it if you want to challenge your ears to something that is really good, that will really give you something new to your musical palette, I think this is the artist for you. The name of this particular song that I want to recommend to you, as an example, is New Joy. Check that one out. I think you'll enjoy it. I loved it, and I look forward to hearing more from Slauson. And that will do it for this episode of Coffee and Beats. I am your musical producer, Rock and Magnificent. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this with your loved ones. I'm sure they all love to hear this. And again, when it comes to the coffee, when it comes to the music, stay grounded for life. See you.